pull back and listen to what your message is. I really take a look at who your real audience is, who's replying back to you, who's engaging. If you're using social media as your marketing tool, if you're not getting true engagement, it's a waste. If you're spending money on marketing, but don't know who you're speaking to or what you stand for, you're not building a brand, you're buying noise. Welcome to the Trustedpreneur Podcast. Madeline, I'm excited to talk about this topic with you today because so many times recently we've been talking to potential clients and they start with their initial kickoff of, I'm spending all this money on marketing. I built my website. I've done all these things and I'm not getting any traction. What would be the first thing you would say to them?
Well, where in your business what journey are you on, right? Because the ones that I'm finding that are the culprit on this are the online businesses. And you'll have that in the brick and mortar, but the ones that I've been talking to that I've been finding out, I did my website. I spent all this money in marketing. I have to just stop paying for that because it was just not getting me anything. And so when you start digging deep into what they're doing, it's like, okay, but who are you talking to when you are crafting your message? And look, everybody knows that has been in business that you must have somewhat an avatar, right? Somebody. And we learned this the hard way because do you remember when the hook? It was beautiful. I knew I wanted women in there to do the thing. I hired the marketing company to speak on our behalf online. They were speaking generic words. And so that wasn't really talking to the clients that I was, in fact, wanting to bring in. And so that was my first taste and experience about understanding. Because, in the first business, we didn't have to do that. Right? BNN, it was very, very specific, right? We provide a service. My client is the escrow officer, is my number one client. My second was the lender, and the consumer was the third, but I wasn't servicing them. I was servicing my escrow, right? And my escrow teams. And it was simple. We didn't even have to worry about that.
Well, and I think you bring up a great point because so many people start with, I need to hire a marketing company. Mm-hmm. And there are some really good marketing companies out there that kind of go through this process. But a lot of them, when they say, they presume that they know the answer. And I think that what I would always tell people is when you're creating your business mm-hmm. and you're validating your concept, you have to actually talk to people that you think are going to be your customers. Mm-hmm. And if they're not resonating with it, right, then you already know either A, the product you're offering or the service you're offering is not for them, mm-hmm. or B, I need to do something within my product or service to make it for them. And I think that where I see so many people make the mistake is they go to a marketing company, because this is what you were referencing with the hook, is that we went and we just figured, you're a marketing company. You must know, if we've described this is the audience we're looking at, to the extent that we did, that you must know how to reach them. Mm-hmm. And what they didn't do in that scenario is actually reach them. Now, audience might be saying, we may be hiring the wrong people. My point, though, is that what we needed to do and what we did is our messaging was good. It was just attracting someone different, and we didn't recognize that at first.
Yeah, but shame on the marketing company, right? Because when you have a client in front of you, your job, if you're going to charge, is to guide that client to what is right, not to take their money and then, it didn't work out, because that goes back to bad experiences, retention. I was there for less than 90 days. I don't think we even end up launching with them because they just didn't even have the thought process of a launching program.
Right.
Which in many companies, specifically the ones that are not in the marketing space, right? Most business owners are going to be visionaries. So they need help trying to figure out what is it that they need to be doing, right? And everybody is so fragmented and they teach one piece, they don't teach you all the pieces. So that doesn't help. And that doesn't, for somebody that's already strapped and the first thing that they're going to cut off is marketing because they don't feel like it's working, they need to be educated a little bit better.
Absolutely. And that's why when we're working with clients, we try to hone in very tightly on the message that they want to deliver, because a vague message delivers nothing.
Right.
It's really just a waste
of money.
Yeah. And so your offer, your imagery, making sure you're presenting the image of what you in the ideal consumer or customer you're having, right? And so I think that when working with a marketing company specifically as the business, you need to be very defined in what you're trying to communicate, and you need to advise them, I need you to help me drill this down. And then there's always the playback that needs to happen because, and this has happened with other marketing companies that we've worked with as well, is they'll sit in the meeting and say they understand it, and then they'll execute something else, and then you're sitting there, well, I needed these marketing pieces a week ago, and I'm finally getting them. Now what do I do?
Yeah, and also, from a standpoint of the client itself, right? They need to understand that they don't need to be talking to everyone. It is okay not to talk to everyone and be very specific and very niche, because what we've learned and we've heard enough people say, when you talk to everyone, you're talking to no one.
That's right.
And so, I love what you're building from a standpoint of the pillars of really, truly building a business, right? And assessing, where are you in the process? Are you in the launching process? Are you in the growth process? Or are you in the, I am ready to scale because I've already moved to the middle, right? And I am ready to go big and then exit. And so I love that you're building that. And I think that that's going to be one of the, the programs that are going to be most popular, because a lot of people that I've been talking to recently, they're all in the launching process and they've been in business for about 3+ years.
Yeah. First, thanks for the foreshadow to the audience. I'm not done with that yet, but it's coming. But I think that was exactly what I was going to say is there are a lot of businesses that have been around for years. And what they don't realize is they're still in the launch phase because they never really completed it.
Or in the aging process. That's another process, by the way.
The what process?
The aging process.
Yes.
Where they're not doing innovation, anything, and they're just comfortable where they're at.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, some of these businesses, like the one you were referencing, been around for a couple of years, they're putting tactics to grow, and they haven't even identified what they're actually trying to do. I mean, they started a business and they have this idea, right? But they're not really executing on it. And where I think sometimes people have to understand and appreciate, and this isn't, well, maybe it is, I'm not marketing us in this point. My point is that sometimes you have to ask a third party that's disinterested. And you have to say, what do you see here? What do you hear? And does it even resonate with what they're trying to accomplish? And I think the other thing is when you have a bad marketing strategy and a bad message, you can't just throw a whole new product or service in.
Yeah.
Right? Because now you're confusing your audience even more, and you haven't even maybe defined exactly who that audience is. And so to me, take one day, one step at a time, create your message, test it. And I think this is the other thing that people don't do enough of. It's testing their message, right? You don't just switch over to a new message. You run the old one if it's performing at some degree, and then you run your beat test and you see how that's doing. And then you kind of then figure out, oh, maybe I should navigate to this. But what I see a lot is that they started with something, and that start was great. You know, everybody's got all the energy when they're launching, and they're excited, but they're not listening. And pull back and listen to what your message is. I really take a look at who your real audience is. Who's replying back to you? Who's engaging? If you're using social media as your marketing tool, if you're not getting true engagement, it's a waste.
You know, I think that what's happening is that everybody believes that Facebook or Instagram is where they need to be. You know, like I spoke to somebody on a discovery call the other day, and her product was more grassroots in Google. I knew that right away, you know, and understanding that, because they start to compare themselves to everybody else, and they start running just like, I must do this too. Like you said, I throw an offer. Well, they do the same thing where they need to be. And it's being able to identify what really does work for me. It's not what's working for the other person. It's what works for my product. And I think I've been able to identify that it's so important. Like, we know that the majority of our clients are going to be on LinkedIn. That is our main client. Now, that doesn't mean that I go out in the community and have conversations and add value and they are not becoming a client, just like the one recently did, right?
Right.
So, you know, things like that, you have to, there's going to be the one-off. But my point is that you must understand where your clients live, and that's based on the product that you deliver.
Yes, I totally agree. And I think that the other thing is what people don't do a good enough job on is audit their last 5, 10 posts and really understand, like we were talking about, really understand, is the right person engaging, right? Is that the something that we have to do? And are they actually, you know, for example, while our main client may come out of LinkedIn, we also know they play on Instagram and Facebook.
Or Facebook, because our clients are a little bit older.
Right. But for the most part, right, we know where they spend their business life, right? But we also need to know where they play. But then, do you market the same way? Is your message the same? And it doesn't have to be dramatically different, but you have to tinker a little bit with whatever platform you're working with because of time and the resonance that will happen when they see the message.
Yeah. I agree.
So I think that what I'd like people to walk away from today is, one, really hone in on what your real message is. Make sure you understand who your true avatar is. Yes, you will have sub avatars, but who is your primary? That is the person everything you do is speaking to and for. The others will fall underneath that, and that's just how that cascades down. So hone in on your message. Make sure you really know who your avatar is. And I think the third thing is really audit and test, because you're going to miss some of your messages and they're not all going to be perfect, but you will find the right ones. And then if you get a good one, then it's just adjusting that one to fit the new way and the new service or new offer that you want to put together.
Yeah. That's great. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. If you found a value of this episode, give us a 5-star review and share it with another entrepreneur that might be able to get benefit from it as well. Until next time, let's get to work.
See you next time.